Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Season 2 of Phonogenics 101. We are back after a little hiatus. We are continuing some Fleetwood Mac throughout Season 2. We have a bunch of episodes planned, so we're going to pick up where... No, I'm lying. This isn't where we left off. We actually skipped this one, and then we decided we needed to go back and do it. So tonight, we're going to be talking about Fleetwood Mac's 1980 live album, which actually, I think is the first Fleetwood Mac album I remember from when I was a kid. I would have been 5 years old when it came out. But since we're in a new season, we don't have to do this every episode, but let's go around and introduce ourselves in case anyone's just picking us up on the second season. Thanks to our Patreon subscribers, many that are here. Thanks to the viewers. I appreciate everyone sticking with me while I took a couple months off to record my new album, which is almost done. But we're back to the podcast. So we have a bunch of episodes coming your way. And we always start off with my upper left-hand corner. The man who comes to us, his journal is as wordy and lengthy as Stevie Nicks's. Our favorite, Mr. Jim Miller.
Hello, I'm Jim Miller, and I'm from Sweetwater, Tennessee, via South Dakota. And I've been a fan since, like 75 when I first heard Over My Head. But I've heard Hypnotized and For Your Love on the radio before that, and liked those then. And I've been a fan or a listener, especially when the MTV era, when you found out who these people are, and then that it got really involved and exciting. All
right, and up next, the glue that holds us together. This person may not talk much, just like Christine McVie, but when they do, they have something to say. As this person was coined by Nathan, Dr. Larner.
I didn't know you were talking about me. I'm Steve. I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
You don't say, but sometimes you just kind of observe and listen, just like Christine, but then you hold it together.
It's a start barking out all at once. No. From Detroit, Michigan, longtime Stevie Nicks fan. Next.
All right. As fiery, as unpredictable as Stevie Nicks during her Rock a Little era, this person may make Waddy Wachtel wait on stage while he's playing the riff from Edge of 17 for 15 minutes. Straight from the Pacific Northwest, Nathan Hellman.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm Nathan. I'm from Portland, and it's good to be here again.
Last but not least, I met her when I was touring during the Tusk tour in 1980, and we were in a bar in Hawaii, and I asked her to come up and sing on stage with me, and she's been on every tour since then. Miss Alicia Sharon Ceylani.
That's cool.
About as graceful as it comes out on stage, too. Oh, that was Christine. I was channeling her. As it comes out on stage.
Yeah. Good job.
Hi. My name is Alicia. I'm from the Carolinas, and I've been a fan since the late 2000s. So I'm the youngest fan in the group. So that's what keeps this interesting, I guess.
All right. And I guess I'm the ringleader. I'm the bad manager. I lost all the money. I closed down Fleetwood's because the clam chowder was not selling. I'm Jeremy Gloff. I'm from Tampa, Florida. And I just love talking about music with my friends. So we've covered all the Stevie Nicks solo albums. We had some podcasts with a lot of people. and we kind of pared it down. You know, this isn't the dance tour where you need like 20 auxiliary musicians. We just have the fabulous core group here, and our friend Roland will be joining us in a little bit. He is currently doing a solo album with Bob Welsh as we speak.
They brought Bob back.
They brought Bob back. Okay, so tonight, you know, I like to show my little collection. I got the box set. We got the box set. I got the original vinyl, the OG, with
Yep, the vinyl.
the pictures. We love the pictures. And then, of course, the record store day release, alternate live, which had some bonus tracks. I'm a dumbass, so I paid for the extra like little package on the web store.
Oh,
It has
wow.
a little pin and some stuff on it. So I got that. And then, of course, I'm actually a CD guy, so I got my original CDs. So Fleetwood Mac Live. Didn't Mick Fleetwood say in his book that no one wanted to release this and they just did it for money to kind of get some product out there after?
I got a theory.
Oh, okay. Well, take it. Let's jump right in.
Well, Tusk kind of, you know, was a little low on sales, and they threw this out. It had, I mean, this has all the old, the White and the Rumors songs on it. So I don't know how many units this sold, but it kind of helped, you know, pad the kitty.
Right. And I think a little bit should be said to how legendary the Tusk tour is. Legend has it was a very long, very grueling tour. Many dates, a lot of drugs. Apparently, Lindsey Buckingham kicked Stevie Nicks on stage, kicked her right in the leg. Christine McVie slapped Lindsey, right? Is that how the lore goes? So there's a lot of fire, and I think it's cool to have a historical document of the tour. I hadn't listened to it in a long time, but I did listen in preparation for this podcast, and holy shit, Fleetwood Mac. This is before they had like 10,000 extra musicians and the background singers. The only people he had on stage were the 5 members.
I mean,
And it sounded amazing, right?
yes,
Yes.
no hiding stuff.
Yeah.
They're great. They're a
So-
great vocal band and a great playing band at that time.
And so, you know, we already did talk about the songs themselves track by track. So, you know, this might be a little bit of a shorter podcast, but are we just going to, do you think it's a good plan to maybe just talk about the performances? How we thought the performances of the songs were?
Yeah.
All right.
Right here.
Oh, Stevie's got her journal.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's interesting because like on this live set, there's no Chain, which is like their classic concert opener. And I did go back and listen to some versions of the Chain from the Tusk tour. But
Later.
the set proper opens with Monday Morning, which was the opening track of the White Album. I thought I feel like the band was on fucking fire during this album. I just thought you could feel the heat coming off the stage. I wish I could have seen this live because I've seen Fleetwood Mac 5, 6, 7 times, but I never saw them the way they sounded on this set right here. Like they were just white hot. So what did you guys think of the performance of Monday Morning here?
Okay.
Jim, would you like to? Why don't you just jump in first with each song? Then we'll go around.
Give me a second. I'll get back to the page.
Okay.
What
What a great!
Okay.
We're so used to them opening with the Chain that it was cool to hear a concert start with something else.
Okay. It's this Monday Morning was they opened with Monday Morning on the White Album tour and Rumors quite a bit. It was at least like first and second. It was, you know, it gets everybody revved up, you know, for a show. And it's a good live opener. It's just the Rumors 5 with great band play and great harmonies and vocals. Just, you know, just go in there and just fire it out and get the crowd into it. And it's funny that, you know, Monday Morning, you know, it could have been a single,
Yeah.
you know, and done and it's really not. It's played on like deep track rock radio, but not very much. You know, it's a good little rock and roll number. It's not too shabby. And it's great live.
Cool. I felt like Stevie and Christine's harmonies could have been turned up a little bit more. I thought they were a little buried in the mix on this song.
Okay.
But other than that, I thought it was a freaking rocking version. Does anyone else have any thoughts on Monday Morning from the live album? Anybody jump in?
Come on.
Yeah.
You
I'll
guys
add
did
something.
study.
I'll add something here. The just so everybody is clear, the Tusk tour began in October of '79 and ended in September of '80. So I guess that's about 11 months.
Wow.
So there's that.
Didn't
And-
Stevie say that they had to have pianos painted white in the hotel rooms? They had their own jet. Like there was a lot of excess, right?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Stevie had that really frizzy perm, and like she would wear the berets on stage during this tour.
So 11-month tour, about 118 shows.
They did Japan.
There was a Japan leg. They started in
Some of
Pocatello,
that-
Idaho, which I don't know how well y'all know the West, but there's not much in Pocatello now. There wasn't then either, but you know, that's one of the
Fleetwood Mac was there.
I'm always interested in where they played, the venues and the cities.
I have a
Can you hear
booklet
me?
where. Hold on. Let's go to that.
Okay, and then the Japan leg
That was
was
the first
probably
show.
okay. So I'm not on mute. And the Japan leg was probably 30 shows into that, so 25-30%. So there's a little context around Monday Morning because that was from one of their. They played 3 nights, February 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Tokyo,
Okay.
in Budokan or something. So that would have been on one of those 3 nights. So there you have it.
And you ever look at that Japanese footage? It's quite bizarre. And it's like they have the band just standing around and they don't know what's going on. And people would bring gifts and they would open them. It was kind of odd. And it just very interesting.
Indeed.
Very quirky.
Indeed.
All right. Any other thoughts on Monday Morning Live? Alicia?
So I know, well, I haven't listened to this here in the last couple of days, but this first disc, I couldn't get out of the record player. It's a great first disc.
Yeah, it is.
Got a lot of
Oh.
energy to it. And Monday Morning is just such a perfect start. To me, this is a very good, this live album. It's a really good case for why they got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's just,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
everybody's playing at the top here, even though there's all the drugs. So,
Well, yeah.
there's not much to say. I mean, it was just a good song. It's sad that it's kind of been buried, but
Yeah. I think with a lot of these, we won't have a lot to say about some of the songs. We're just gonna be like, yeah, that was a killer performance. But I think it's important to do this podcast so that people are going through the Fleetwood Mac discography don't skip this one. This is an essential release. And I really realized that listening to this. And this is definitely the bridge between Tusk and Mirage, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And even Tusk and Belladonna, if you want to get technical, and all the solo stuff they did.
well, I think this is a really good album to kind of capstone the end of the 70s with what this Firefly 5 was able to accomplish.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is before they start bringing all the extra band members.
The Brett Tuggles and the
Yes. So it really does tell you that they could do all these songs at one point. Which is really fascinating because as a younger fan, I guess I'm so used to hearing all the different them doing the full performances, I guess, that this is somewhat nice. And to have really good, clean copies. I mean, bootlegs are nice, but this is, high.
Yeah.
So, but this is a really good song to kick it all off this Monday morning.
And I know Christine's not with us anymore, but if she was, I wonder what it would have sounded like if just the five of them played together, stripped of all the excess that's now on stage with them. I have no idea.
It would be really interesting to have seen them. Can I call it like a remix? Them having to do these songs maybe a little bit different because they can't maybe reach all the notes or
Right.
play all the song. I think people were saying she wasn't able to do all the piano playing like she used to 30, 40 years ago, which nobody really can when you're it'd be interesting to hear Stevie as well because she's dropped a couple octaves.
You can say that again. This one's for you, Daddy.
Yes.
All right. Well, moving on to track 2. This was a big hit from the Fleetwood Mac White album. Say You Love Me, which the legend has it, this is the first song when they all jumped in on the 3-part harmony in the studio, and they knew that it was going to be magic. And I don't have much to say about this. Another great live version. Jim, do you got some notes?
Yeah, this was an opener in a lot of their tours back at that time in the White Album and the Rumors era. So it led in. Say You Love Me was a big hit.
Yeah.
And we're very recognizable. And it showed Christine's playing and singing. And this is what I have to say about Christine. There's great piano player vocalists around like Billy Joel and Elton and Christine. And how do they do these piano runs and do a vocal too? That's just a gift. That's just super talent. And be very good in all the phases there. And great writing too, So on this, I wrote, I love Stevie's backing vocals here, and Christine, excellent as always. And it's just Say You Love Me, and it's great live. And we'll get to the dance version, and I really loved how they updated it there.
Ooh. I don't know if I
Isn't
agree
this
with
the track off of the album that they were saying goodbye, everybody at the very, very end? Because I remember hearing the first 2 or 3 off of this disc. That was the funny thing to me as I was listening to it.
I didn't catch
I
that,
think
but
you might be right. I forgot about that, but I think you're right. Maybe
It's all in order, isn't it? Like,
I don't
it's
think
not
so.
live set. It's just like, aren't they randomly placed on there?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like they chose the best version of these songs from several different.
These are cuts. This whole album is cuts, the best cuts from different tours. And I was looking for the liner notes on my vinyl, and I couldn't even find the vinyl stuff. But these cuts were recorded all over, like St. Louis and just random places. And like the ones, the Fireflies and Farmer's Dog, those were like, they were like
weren't they?
I want to break in here.
Yes.
Yeah, Say You Love Me was from Wichita,
They were like where?
Kansas.
That's right. That's what I'm getting. That's what I would like to
Break it,
jump
Nathan.
in with you.
Break it.
Yeah, Wichita, Kansas. Go ahead. Yeah.
They took the best cuts.
Wichita, Kansas at the Kemper Arena, Arena, which was taken down in 2010.
Yeah.
So that's no longer there, but there's some lovely online tours that you can see if you too would like to feel like you're at the snack shack in the Kemper Arena in
Eating a chili dog.
in August of 1980, because this particular show was from 8/24 or 8/25. Wikipedia lists 8/24, but the Fleetwood Mac stuff lists 8/25, so you can choose your date. But anyway, late August 1980, and there were only 4, maybe 5 shows left, and that was the end of the Tusk tour. So this was
okay.
Tusk tour at its dying breath here.
I would give anything to hear 1980 Christine McVie with a hot dog and a pretzel in my hand. Yeah, Stevie's harmonies are great on the chorus here. This is a great version. We're gonna be saying that over and over. This is a great version. They're all fucking great versions. Any other
And I
thoughts
agree
on?
with what Jim said. With what Jim said when he said that it works like works particularly well live. This one with their playing style at the time. I
Yeah,
think some of their stuff from this tour, this era, sounds a little sped up. And we can speculate as to why that is, but this is one. This is one that I think really works well with that style.
right. Yeah, I agree. All right. Any other thoughts on "Say You Love Me"? All right, track 3. You know, the number 1 hit from Rumors. The thing that's so interesting to me about this version of Dreams is that Stevie takes the high harmony on the chorus in this live version that Christine usually sings on the album. So Christine's doing the melody that Stevie did on Rumors, and Stevie's taking the high harmony. Did you guys notice that?
Okay, that's something to look into.
Yeah. And
Sure.
this is also
Right.
what's that, Alicia?
Oh, I was going to say that explains why it sounded so good and almost like the record version, which you don't get that a lot anymore.
Right.
Stevie's voice has dropped an octave or so.
I feel like this may have been the last time that Dreams was ever sung the way it was sung on Rumors with the high melody. Because by the time this song was on the Belladonna White Winged Dove tour, I think she'd already started adjusting the melody and cutting out the higher notes. So it was really awesome. And some of the songs on this album to still hear Stevie hitting those high notes. What other song was it that where she shaved off the melody? Oh, let me look. It's on disc 2. It's Rhiannon. Yeah, you had the original melody of Rhiannon, which you never get, even after the Belladonna tour. Okay.
Now, did Mick say in his book that her voice cracked on stage?
Yeah.
I I always took it that she lost her confidence from that point on. She's like, because if I'm not really warmed up and I sing, like, I don't know what's going to come out. Like, so I imagine Stevie wasn't really that trained at that point. So she was afraid to experiment with her voice after that incident. Played it real safe.
I know we're skipping ahead, but I also read in Mick's book that the finale to Rhiannon really is part of the reason why her voice dropped an octave, because she just tore up her voice, which we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's the.
Any other? But we're on Dreams. I thought this is such a subtle song, and we're so used to the version she does now, you know, Outside the Rain, going into Dreams. But this version of Dreams really sounded like the version from Rumors, but the live version. And I was there for it. I didn't expect it because I hadn't heard it in a while, and I fucking loved it. I just thought it was gorgeous. Christine and Lindsay were so in the pocket with their their harmonies. It was just beautiful. So, what did you guys think of Dreams, the live version here? Jim?
I'm pretty sure this is there's that live version from that period on YouTube, and it's got 47 million views. You know, it's crept up there over the years. It's been on there. Gosh, maybe it's been on YouTube for, gosh, where is this? Oh, this one got replaced. Oh, this has been online a long time. There's a one on YouTube it's only 4 years old, and it's got 43 million views, and it must have got dumped or something. Oh, it's from them. It's from the band. It's the band's version. Fleetwood Mac has their own channel. But someone had one that had maybe 20 million. Mm-hmm. So, it gets clicked on a lot. And I think this is this live, the one on the album is the one that's you see the video for, I'm pretty sure, very close to it, or it is it. And it's a very popular one they click on to watch, because it's a very epic performance. And right when she says, wrap around your dreams, when she really stresses that lyric, that kind of sells it there. Stevie's very vulnerable yet strong here. Great harmonies, very much like the album cut, and which makes this a great band. Terrific wail by Stevie at the end.
And Lindsay's guitar playing was so atmospheric and subtle, just like on the album version. It was just beautiful.
It guided it through.
And let's take a note that this is before they were playing it for you.
Yeah, I know. there's a lot of
They weren't playing it for you quite yet at this recording. Anybody
Yeah.
else dreams?
This was done in June of 1980, so month 8 or 9 of 11.
Okay.
I'm seeing here.
And she's still
and,
hitting the high notes that far into the tour.
That's what I thought was interesting. Exactly
Yeah.
that. So you never know. Yeah, I mean, that says to me that's like you never know whether it was going to be a good or a bad night, which we all know that's part of, to use your phrase, the lore of it all. But it underscores the idea. And Paris, France, for anyone who doesn't have it right in front of them, is where the venue this was recorded in. Paris, France.
Nathan, I appreciate you doing this with every song. I think that's a lot to the discussion.
I'm doing it for every song?
Yes.
Yeah, you are doing it.
You don't have to.
Surprise!
You don't have to, but I am enjoying it. Stephen or Alicia, anything to say about Dreams?
Well, beyond what I've already said, I mean, this is a great live version. I think this is probably the best I've heard being released. I mean, I do like the one from Belladonna, but it's this one is really good. You can tell that they really could perform all of these live. Because that's kind of, and I guess that's some of the fun to go see them. If you were a fan from the 70s, to see each of the tours and see how they kind of changed them a little bit or whatnot. But it's being a newer fan, it's really nice to see the brilliance that they could deliver with these songs. And it's not just the studio that you have.
Right.
And this is such a beautiful version. Like you said, they had the great harmonies. I remember listening to it a month or so back and going, man, fantastic.
You really get to see why they are legends.
Yeah.
Yes.
These older performances.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're good now, but like
Yeah.
back in the prime, like wow.
Yeah. That's why I said earlier, this is the record. I was like, okay, now I can see why they got into the rock and roll. You know, in 97, what was that? Exactly 25 years, 26 years after their first. I mean, they weren't waiting around to get in.
Welcome, Roland. We are on track 3, just talking about Dreams. So we're not that you didn't miss that much, and we're happy to have you here with us.
We're only on Dreams.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Wow, what the fuck is that?
Alicia, do you have some more before we move on?
No.
Okay,
No.
Roland, do you have anything to say about the version of Dreams on the live album?
What was the question?
Do you have anything to add about Dreams, the live version?
It's a good version. I found out recently it's the same audio as the video. Have you guys seen the video?
That's what Jim said.
Yes. I never realized that until someone mentioned it. Now it seems obvious. But Monday Morning is great. Say You Love Me is great. So those are very great tracks on the live album, and I'm glad they released it in 1980.
And I'm also glad that you guys talked me into doing this podcast, because we were just going to skip over this one, and you guys were not having that.
No.
You were not having that.
I put my word in for it. Remember, I listened to One More Lonely Night. I said, "Oh,
Yeah, that's when it changed. The same thing happened with Joni Mitchell's live albums. I'm like, oh, we're done with the Joni Mitchell series. No, we're not. We need to do the fucking live albums, and we did, and I'm glad we did. Okay, track 4. We are going back to 1969, 1970. Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, a song from Then Play On. At the time, I heard this version first, as I'm sure millions of people did, because not everyone bought those earlier Fleetwood Mac albums. But I love that they're paying tribute to the previous incarnations of Fleetwood Mac. It's interesting hearing a lot of Lindsay's guitar playing on this live album, how much of a descendant, how much he did. I don't want to say, him and Peter Green were so different, but they are part of the same thread. So I can feel like some of that same magic in these live performances that you hear in the earlier Fleetwood Mac live performances. And I think Lindsay's version of Oh Well is blistering. Holy shit. When John McVie's bass playing and I bet McVie and Fleetwood were thrilled to be doing one of their early songs from their buddy Peter. I thought this version was fucking killer. It was so good. Lindsay did it justice. All right, so Jim, we always start with your notes. Then we'll go around the.
Mick and Mick and John, the one and only. I mean, you just listen to that. Listen to the. I think they dared each other to go as fast as you can on this track. Good. Let's do it as fast and make it, clear as you can, and have Lindsay follow along and just blaze through. And the middle and the end is just fire on this. It's a great rendition. Oh well.
I love mixed cowbell because it's so such a bizarre piece of music. But
there's a story on the recording of that.
Oh really?
I think they were jamming and Mick did that cowbell and someone said, "Hey, that's cool," and said, "Do that again." And Mick says, "What?" And I don't think it was recorded or anything. And then he recreated it or something. There's a story. I mean, I read somewhere. It was impromptu. It's kind of like the comedy bit where the drum hit.
Oh yeah,
after a joke. I think that might have been kind of a kernel of brilliance.
Is anybody else on this podcast familiar with the Then Play On album?
Yeah,
it's a great album.
Let's do it.
It's a great album. I love those early.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on? Now, didn't they do "Oh Well" on the tour with Neil Finn and Mike Campbell?
Yeah, Mike Campbell did the vocals and guitar.
I thought that was a commendable attempt, but it was nothing like this.
I love it in a southern accent. It was awesome.
Don't matter what I think of you, I might not.
Did you do
something like that?
Was that Steven?
The Tango tour.
That's right.
Gonna say.
Oh yeah, with
Rick Vito and
Rick
Billy Burnett. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have anything to say about "Oh Well"? Nathan, do you have any geographical information?
Yeah, sure. This was done at the Checker Dome in St. Louis, which of course is the same venue that the documentary that we all know and love was filmed at.
Okay.
And they did this 2 nights in November '79, I think the 5th and the 6th of November. And they and this was about the 5th show of their 118 in the overall tour. So very early, 2 nights, and it's the documentary. Okay.
You really can hear the fire there, and I feel like there's more power, which is, because Christine's not really playing on this one, is she? Is she doing maracas maybe?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
But I feel like there's the trio of Lindsay, John, and Mick just tearing it up has more power than when they have the 15 musicians that they have on stage now. That was just, when I was in my car, I almost drove off the damn road because it was.
It's a great driving song.
Yeah. Woo, I'm speeding, people. Okay, Alicia, Steven, or Roland, anything to say about "Oh Well"?
Well, Tom Petty did the song on his tour when Stevie Nicks showed up. I think it was 2005-ish.
Okay.
I think 06.
06, yeah, around then, yeah.
Oh, I'm mad. I wanted to see that.
Well, I love this
song.
You
know what? One of my friends went to see it, and she saw the Boston show, and she called me on her cell phone, her flip phone, and let me hear a song. This is back when we used to do that, remember? And it was almost like you were there,
All right. Well, any other thoughts on "Oh Well" before we move on? Jim.
I mean, this is the thing. We moved from South Dakota to Tennessee 06. And then, of course, Stevie and Tom do Sturgis, which is 15 miles away from where I live. in a pasture. And I baled hay up on a hill looking over Buffalo Chip and Sturgis where Stevie and Tom Petty play.
Wow.
Thank God. And I missed that because we moved.
Damn.
The nerve.
Damn.
The luck.
Darn.
Damn.
Okay. Up next, the song that was the opening track on Tusk, Over and Over, is such an understated, kind of very mellow, subtle song. And the thing I love about this live version is they let it rock. The really interesting thing about the Tusk version is it starts to rock during the fade out. The song just really stays even. Then right when it starts to pick up, it fades out. So with this live version, you get to see the power that Over and Over can have if you let it keep going. And the harmonies between Stevie, Lindsay, and Christine are exquisite.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with all of that. Jeremy, and then some. I just want to correct the record though and say that according to the shit here, it says that Dreams was recorded live at the Paris sound check.
Oh,
That's what it say, Roland. So there it is.
Yeah.
cool. Jim, what are your notes on Over and Over?
Mick keeping great time on this track. Good harmonies, a lot of open area between the musicians. I love that in songs where you can clearly hear the drums and the guitar and the piano, and I just love that in music. And it has a wonderful outro. I love how it builds musically towards the end. It's really good. I mean, Christine singing terrific on this.
I like Christine doing the electric piano too. All right. Does anybody else want to jump in about Over and Over? Roland.
It's a great track on a Tusk record. I'm happy that they did it live in the first place because it's kind of an understated track. To do it on a Tusk tour, and that they even put it on the album. So that was another bonus because, people, it's not that well known a song. And isn't that part great where Lindsay and Stevie go, "Let me down again," when after Christine sings it?
Right.
Yeah, so it's a great, I'm very happy to put on. I love that song. I love the song.
I was like, oh, go ahead.
It's interesting that, they chose this one as opposed to maybe Think About Me, which was done on the Tusk tour, but only in spots here and there. It wasn't like an obvious song they would do, but I'm glad they did that song, and I'm glad we have it for Prosperity on the album.
Another thing I love is when all my favorite icons, like my top favorite musicians, have songs by the same title. And Madonna had a song called Over and Over on Like a Virgin. So
there's a theme. There's a pattern.
Little theme. Yep. Any other thoughts on Over and Over?
Yes, this was done in Oklahoma City, right toward the end of the same time around Kansas City last week or so, last dozen shows. And that, of course, was at the Myriad Convention Center, which is the same place that Stevie would go on to play in 83 and 86. And I don't know about subsequent tours, but there you have it.
Cool. Well, moving on. A song. Did anyone else have anything on Over and Over? Alicia, did you have anything?
Well, I'm glad that they brought something that was, the first four songs are fantastic. And this one kind of shows another side of the band.
Totally agree.
And I have to agree with what you said, Jeremy. It's one of those things where they picked a lesser known song, but then you can see how good they are. And it's also fun to hear something that's a little bit different than what they have on the record.
Right.
And it's nice that it doesn't have all of Lindsay's studio magic. It's some of her songs he really knew how to overproduce.
Yeah, he really did.
Great. Love the records, but they kind of brought this back down, and it's beautiful. It's a good, healthy live version.
And I still say, what a daring opening track for the follow-up to one of the biggest selling albums of all time.
Yeah.
I wonder what the audience reaction was sitting there, because people, oh God, new song, bathroom break or beer break. I wonder if that was reaction back in 79, 80. The people didn't appreciate it as we are appreciating it now.
Right.
Well, isn't it like something like artists kind of picked up the ideas there in like the 90s and 2000s?
Yeah.
And that's what made it.
Wasn't anybody in this group around in 79 to say? Sorry, Jim, you're raising your hand.
Have you ever heard the Camper Van Beethoven? They covered Tusk from front to back.
Yeah, I haven't. I seldom listen to it though.
Yeah, I listened to it like
really
once.
They make fun of Stevie stuff. They took like a kid's voice recording toy on Stevie songs and video. And they were serious about some of the Lindsay Christine stuff, but it's I mean, the rumor is they made it over a weekend or over a few days. I think they plotted this out over months, and so it's something that's historic. I listen to that occasionally.
I read that they made the record because they didn't like the record. So
they're mocking a little bit.
Yeah, and I think
they might have fell in love with some of the tracks, and they were a little bit serious about making it. Well, this is good. Well, we'll play it.
Mm-hmm. I think Stevie said that she played it for Tom Petty before it came out, and he said he didn't like the record.
Oh boy!
But I'm glad, but we're not doing Tusk, but it's great that it's being more appreciated now after almost 40 years or more.
I feel like not only is it being appreciated, but it's being mimicked a lot. A lot of those were like indie lo-fi bands. Mm-hmm. What's that one band that I had to hear all the time at my last job? Oh, all their songs sounded like Tusk songs to me. Like that production, like the reverb. What's a band that was popular like 4 years ago or 5 years ago?
Modest Mouse.
I'm being so big. I'm not helping. Okay, I'm fired from podcasting.
Well, I did better with songs in my ear. So I can't think of the band off the top.
All right, it's gonna come to me later. Okay, moving on. Onward Ho, a song that's so hard to do live, and Stevie has brought it back throughout the years
on this tour.
Yes, yeah.
On this tour.
Hopefully,
the song, of course, is Sarah. And I was so delighted by the live version on this live album because it's such a subtle studio. So much of the success of the song is the studio magic of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I felt like so much of the atmosphere and the gauziness of that studio version was in this live version. I was actually blown away. I thought the harmonies, Lindsay's guitar with all the effects. How could they do that with just the musicians there? I don't have anything else to say, but I just thought it was amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. I love this, love this, love this, love this.
Yeah.
It has been rumored that the vocals were redone in a studio.
Red Rock style, baby.
Yeah, because I don't really question it because the vocals are very smooth. They're just like studio perfect as compared to if you listen to bootlegs and the other version of Sarah on the Tusk Deluxe. Her voice is like, it's kind of all over the place sometimes and, unnecessary ad-libbing, but this is so perfect that I do wonder if it was overdubbed in the studio, which a lot of, people did do that. Did people still do that? I mean, it has to be commercial. I wouldn't be surprised, but nonetheless, I love it.
The band that I was trying to think of that I think sounds like Tusk is Tame Impala.
Okay.
All right. Jim.
Yes, just on a note, there is a version of Sarah from that era, and it's a video, and I have no problem. I don't know if it's this version or not.
I'll tell you.
No, it's not.
It's a different version, but that's a good version.
Yes,
that
it is. Yes, it is, Roland.
Because I think the St. Louis concert was 2 nights, so one was filmed for that Tusk tour documentary, and the other one is supposedly this one on the record, and the vocals are different. She says "Call Me Home," or she just says "Call Me." There are little subtle things that you can pick up.
Yeah,
and the ending is different too.
But they were certainly done well on tape, on video. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to say it was done well. There's a video version from that era that's done really well. And Stevie with her hair up like the bun.
Oh yeah, like a bun, with the red.
It's in the video. Christine Bland. It's a very good video take on that.
Yeah.
So and Mick playing, with these brushes and stuff and all that. Let's see. This is a more straightforward and less lush than the studio. I mean, because you can't do that live, and than the album version. It's Stevie the Poet, and Mick really makes this thing work. You're just going on, keeping time all the way through. And Stevie at the middle to the end is coming into her own, like her solo career. You see hints of it in that Tusk, on the album Tusk, and performances where she just lets loose, and she's becoming a little bit more mature and self-assured. And this is great, but my favorite version of Sarah is the Belladonna tour. I mean, that one just knocked me out. I mean, it's the musicians there. I mean, and the production on it's tilted, like 90 degrees from this stuff, but it's really good. I mean, this is good and that's good too.
We all agree that her Belladonna voice was definitely making some appearances here. Like I can kind of, if I hear a TV song that I don't know, like a demo, I can kind of pick out where it's from because her voice changes with each era.
Yeah.
And I've definitely heard some Belladonna. Steven, was your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I count there 3 different versions of Sarah being 3 different songs. Like you have the album version as its own song, the Belladonna version that Jim just mentioned is its own song, has its own flavor and character, and this live version is its total own song. So I love them all equally. I wouldn't cancel any of them out or call them the definitive version of Sarah because these are all so perfect in their own way. It just depends on what mood you're in or what you're going for.
I loved Christine's piano on this live version. I mean, it was just gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Lindsay's his guitar playing the finger picking. Just listen to that throughout the whole song. It's just amazing. It's not on the official version, but it is when he does it live. He finger picks throughout the song.
And it's so sensual if you watch the Belladonna version. The way her whole body's moving with it, with the robe, and it's very slow and hypnotic. Totally different.
And the bun on her head was the signature look for
Very
Sarah through the whole tour, right?
Yeah, with the red cape for Sarah specifically. She made characters out of each song, like the red cape and the pompadour Edwardian Victorian hairstyle, and Sisters of the Moon with the the shawl over her head and the cowbell, and an angel, she would wear that beret and the scarf around her neck. So she made characters out of her songs.
All right. Does anybody else have things to say about Sarah? Jim.
Just one more note. There's the sound stage one of Sarah, and it's so different to me. It's almost like a cover.
It's awful. Oh, it's awful.
Like, it's like a cover. It's not like it's not what I've known what Sarah is. I mean, and she's doing on this tour, and I watched a few clips, and then hopefully she keeps it in the set.
Did you guys ever
get to witness it?
Did you ever hear the full version from Soundstage? Because they cut out the intro. Originally, she said, "Maybe I should have been a cleaning woman."
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, okay. That's a really bad version, though.
Probably a rotten cleaning person too. She's like, I'm so bad and I take care of everybody, and you're like, just see this disaster. She leaves.
Yeah.
Hey, Stevie.
It's all these dishes in the sink, but there's like the half moon necklaces hanging everywhere.
That's so what it would be.
Phonogenics 101 never fails to deliver. Any other thoughts on Sarah from anybody? All right. Moving on. A song that I did not like on the Tusk album, and upon listening to the live version, I just hated it 10 times more. I'm just going to go on a rant, and no one can talk till I'm done. Then you guys can rebuttal what I say. Lindsay was inspired by the Punks, but dude, you're like a white, rich, fucking California musician. You're not punk, Lindsay. Like, you can't, just because you're hooting and hollering and screaming doesn't make you edgy. Like, I just thought this song was so fucking stupid. Like, this performance was stupid. He was carrying on and yelling, making a lot of noise, because I think he wanted to be edgy and be like the fucking Clash. So, dude, you're not the fucking Clash. You know what I mean? You don't have that. It's just, it was so fake and stupid. Like, dude, you write great fucking pop California emotional songs. Like, I know you're trying to like expand your palette, but this is the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard. Okay.
And he's wearing this expensive Armani suit on stage doing this song too, most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like 15 minutes long, It's like, this is the bathroom break song. Go for beer. It's like, when he did Come, that song Come, on a Say You Will tour, people went for a bathroom break. I'm sorry.
I don't even drink beer, but I might have gone for a fucking beer with that one.
Yeah, so this is I skipped this one.
It's terrible,
Was
dude.
was it actually an Armani suit, or are you using hyperbole? Like
He was wearing Armani. Yeah, in the Rolling Stone article, he wore Armani suits. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
I just feel like he was looking for some kind of cred, and like that's not. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, this is not what I'm looking for. I don't care. Like, we all can yell. I can like yell and have a drummer going. Okay, Alicia.
Okay.
I'm gonna get torn apart on the ledge.
Your face are priceless, Alicia.
Oh, my face of expressions.
Yes.
You know exactly what I'm thinking as he's talking. I'm like, well, no sense in me saying anything. Jeremy's covered it all. This is not one of my favorites, but this long version, Lindsay really could play. This is musically, if I could just listen to it, it's a really good song. He knows how to do the, and it's really interesting to see how high he can hit those screams, and I was like, oh my goodness. I think I've heard comments saying with all the grunts and screams and yips and yowls, that's why he has a tough time singing now. And then I would hear this and I'd go, well, now I can understand why.
You want to ask Lindsay, like, was it worth it? Like,
Yeah.
losing that beautiful voice to this crap? Really? I was driving down fucking Route 56 in Wesley Chapel, Florida, listening to this and just rolling my eyes.
Woo! Oh, sorry.
Well, this is also one of those fun songs. Not that funny. Woo! I can see it being fun kind of driving, but it's not one of those. It's not really very thought-provoking, if that makes any sense. Can I say it's like a fun song? Does that make sense? That's as good as I can give it.
I do feel like some of Lindsay's experiments on Tusk were great and even edgy. I really do. I just think this one's a colossal failure. Like, it's just so stupid. The song is so fucking stupid.
Well, I agree with you. It's not my favorite, but it's interesting to hear the long version, to hear some of the different ideas and
Right.
but yeah, no. I wish he pulled something else out from.
Like Aretha Franklin said when an interviewer asked her about what she thought of Nicki Minaj, I'm going to pass on that one. That's how I feel about I'm going to Aretha the song. I'm going to pass on that one.
That's a good one.
Jim, I know you got some notes. Let's get the Jim
Yeah.
notes. Then we're going to
I'll
carry on.
make it. I'll pump this song up a little bit.
This
Okay.
is your favorite song. I'm gonna hit you.
Okay.
If this is anyone's favorite song, I'm just going to hit stop the record and cancel the podcast.
I noticed at the beginning on this version, the guitar parts sound a little bit like Lindsay's "Go Insane," that song called "Playing in the Rain." If you're familiar with it,
Yes.
Plenty of anger here. Love Christine's keyboard lines. Mick and John in the middle. I think that was when they kind of go about it themselves, and Mick plays. Or John plays some bass runs. I like that. Stevie was probably in the back doing some cocaine and changing. I just have a feeling that was going on. The screaming sets them apart from your everyday band. You don't see Tom Petty and the Eagles doing some screaming through their, in a song. The playing at the end is absolutely superb. I mean, the just the harshness and the heaviness, and Christine and John and Mick and Lindsay finishing out at the end. That's really good.
What about, if I may, what about Jim? I think one of the things that you just said there made me think about, what do you think Lindsay was thinking in that moment while he's up there yelping and wailing like a weirdo? We can all agree that it's not the nicest thing to do. What do you think he's thinking? Maybe he's upset. Hold on, to your point though, Jim, maybe he's upset because you know who is backstage rearranging her candles, as I like to call it.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why, and maybe that's what he was emoting, or maybe there was a thing in the audience that because like Alicia said, it could be good for driving. I thought she was going to say it could be good live. You know, it could work really well for, I suppose, for either one. Maybe there's something in the audience that he was playing off of, or maybe it was an expression of his irritation that she's, again, in the back rearranging her handles.
I feel like the height of their problems is like they got the wrong shade of paint at Sunset Sound when they repainted the studio. Like, what was there really to be angsty about? I just don't get it.
Do you think he was trying to compete with her Rhiannon performance?
Oh,
that's it. That's good.
That's probably a little bit of the ego.
Okay,
because I can say something about like those Midnight Special Rhiannons were like, those are just off the charts. So, you know, Lindsay's trying to, well, I'm going to raise that bar myself a little and do my thing, which is fine. I mean, that's, you know, it sets the Mac from other great bands. They can get, you know, the angry artistic anger out in their shows, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna rename the song from "Not That Funny" to "Not That Good."
Okay.
Sorry, Lindsay. No disrespect. There's some. I love a lot of Lindsay songs, and even the ones on Tusk. Just not this one. Anybody else have anything to say about this riveting performance of white man angst? Rich white man angst. All right. In the spirit of Not That Funny, Lindsay took a beautiful song from Rumors and then kind of did a kind of shitty version of it. That's how I felt about this version and Never Going Back Again. He just kind of still yelling, and it's in a higher key than it normally is. It's in a higher key than it was on Rumors, or that I've heard him do it anywhere else. I just thought the original recording is such a beautiful melody and such a nice, simple song. And then he kind of did go back to that classic version in later performances. This was not my favorite version of Never Going Back Again. I thought it was, he was trying to be edgier, and I don't need Never Going Back Again to be edgy, but maybe I'm wrong. What thoughts, Jim? I know you got the notes. Let's start.
Okay. It's certainly a come down from the previous track. And Suburb picking on this, and Lindsay has a very dramatic vocal on it, and this is when he was kind of adding bend down 3 times. I kind of like that. That's a little change. I think that's for Poke at Somebody a 3rd time. That's Poke at somebody in his life. I don't know who. Someone in the back.
Still doing her candles. Okay. Never Going Back Again. Anybody else?
Is this from the Rumors tour? Is that what it says in the credits?
Oh yeah, there's some stuff here that's,
because I don't think he did on Tusk.
Yeah.
This is from the Rumors tour, right?
Really?
Is that what
there's some stuff?
credits
This is from the McHale Center in Tucson from August of '80, and if you remember, the show ended in September of '80, September 1st, I think, to be exact. And so that's this would have been. No, I'm exactly right. September 1st of '80. So this was literally the 3rd to last show. They played,
this was definitely a Tusk vocal here.
New Mexico, Tucson, which is where this one was, Phoenix, 2 nights in LA, and then that was it. So this was done at the McHale Center in Tucson, which is the big venue for the University of Arizona. So you can still go there today.
This is definitely a Tusk vocal.
Done in the spirit of yelping like the other songs in Tusk.
I don't think he would have done this hot mess on the Rumors tour. Alicia, your hand was up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I actually love this version. I mean, I like the one that's on Rumors. It's a nice mid-tempo. I think this is really interesting how he slows it down and he makes it more of a dramatic song, and it kind of pulls out more for the lyrics. And thought-provoking, and of course, like Jim was saying, his playing is really good. It really shows this is kind of that full package for Lindsay. I wish he would have done a lot more of these back then. I like it because it's just beautiful. This is kind of, I don't know, like his Landslide or something, the way he does it for Never Going Back Again. for this live version.
All right. Any other thoughts on this one? All right. Well, disc 1 on the CD or side 2 of the LP ends with a landslide in a much, much higher key than Stevie ever did it since then. It really was surprising for me to hear it in this key. And it's interesting. It was interesting because she kind of
Okay.
she's always stuck to the classic melody, even in her newer versions if it's in a lower key. But this one, she was just doing her Stevie thing, kind of doing the talk singing a little bit more than I'm used to hearing in Landslide. Definitely a Tusk version. Definitely not my favorite version of Landslide. I didn't think it sucked, but it wasn't my favorite. All right. Steven.
Sorry, this is my definitive Landslide.
Lord have mercy.
I love this version of Landslide.
I love this version too.
Don't like
Lord.
the other one. They're boring to me. This one is very heartfelt and destroyed and raw.
It's raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that about it. It really puts something in there that I just don't get out of it normally.
Okay, well maybe I'll go back and listen to it. And there's a lot of
Ball, so
there's a lot of CV things that I don't get, until you listen to it a few times. So I think your comments are worth giving another listen. Nathan, did you have something to add?
I agree with Steven. This is a outstanding version to me.
What do you guys like about it?
Well, what I like about it is that Stevie sounds like she's singing this song. It's like it's very genuine, and she's doing a lot of reflective and with her voice.
Okay.
So for me at least, I'm so used to her singing it in her older voice that she can't do all the range and
nuance.
the nuances, and that's what you get with this version. It sounds like she's really feeling it still,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
I really do trust your guys' opinion, so I'm probably gonna go back and fall in love with it. Honestly.
Yeah, but it's not a pretty lullaby like you're always like. It's totally different.
I'm so used to her hamming up that last note, like the snow, like really.
Oh
hamming it
yeah,
up.
and then applause, go crazy, audience. Yeah, it's just so.
It's kind of nice to not have that here.
Yeah, I like it because it's so different from the version we've been hearing for the last 20-25 years. It all sounds the same now, but this is just different.
Because this song really didn't start getting traction until like the Smashing Pumpkins covered it, and then the dance version.
X.
If you listen really close to, there's a part right at the end where she's like, "Hey, hey, baby."
Really?
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
The audience goes nuts.
Son of a bitch.
I fell for it. Oh my god, I fell for it. Yeah, and they turn up the applause really loud because it was the highlight of the whole concert. God, this podcast. Okay,
One for me.
we have Alicia, then Jim.
Okay, good.
It's my question is how many times did she really perform this? Because this Landslide didn't become like one of those definitive hits until the dance era.
Right.
So was this just played on Tusk and the White Record tours?
Geez, that's a good
Or
one.
is there any other like
what
live
about the
version?
Rumors tour?
It was done rumors.
Because I feel like it wasn't even like a show highlight at the time. Like, you know what I mean?
That's what's so interesting about this song is it's a great song. It's just interesting because this is at the point when Lindsay wasn't being a newer fan. This is one of those songs you go, oh wow, this is as big as Go Your Own Way or Dreams at this point. But when they released this live record in 1980, Landslide wasn't that iconic yet.
It wasn't like capital letters Landslide yet.
Yes.
It wasn't on South Park yet.
Yeah.
And then she didn't do it for 10 years until Behind a Mask tour, I think.
So it's very interesting. Is there any other live versions from the 70s or early 80s? Because this is another one of those songs. I feel like it's like Sarah. She can sing it today, but some of the magic was the fact that she could do a lot of she was able to do a lot of nuance and do the power but range and everything back then that she doesn't have today.
Right.
So I'm curious if this is just the only version we have, a good version, let me rephrase that, of this song live.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any others.
Sorry, that was very, very wordy.
No, I love
This is a
everyone's
place to
thoughts.
be wordy.
The sound has like an alternate version of Landslide on it. That's
Who?
really good. It's the modern version of Landslide, but if you listen to her vibrato in it, it's really full and rich.
Where's it, Steven?
Well executed. It's on the DVD of the Live in Chicago.
Oh,
It's an alternate
Okay.
version. There's
I
a
like
couple
it when
live
it's
ones.
full
she
and
did,
rich,
like-
dude. I like it when it's full and rich.
Yeah, she did it on either Jay Leno or the other
David
guy.
Letterman.
Yeah, she did a
With
really
Lindsay?
good about the time of the dance. It's got a
Okay.
really rich vibrato on it, nice and full. Totally different than the live version that I like, but it's a very good performance.
and that's from 2003,
Yeah.
2004.
Well, the live one on TV, yeah, the
Okay.
live in Chicago, yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
we're talking about that.
I'll have to
And
look
then the
into
one on
it.
David Letterman is 97, I
Okay.
think. 98.
Probably 98.
Jeremy, are we going to take a break at the end of side?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
I feel like Jim's got things to say. Jim's got things
Yeah.
to say.
Okay. Stevie's voice is really, it's actually hard to hear at times in bits through this. I don't know if it's like a recording issue or just her presentation. It's still a very heartfelt version.
Tripping off your ass.
Stevie has so many great versions of Landslide, Fleetwood Mac, and solo. And Stevie hit some strong notes at the end of this performance. I like the David Letterman with Lindsay, and that's like unplugged, totally unplugged. Stevie's voice was terrific there, and it's kind of, when I watched it one time, it was kind of like, I hear the Stevie from like 75 and I hear the Stevie that's today. It's kind of like her voice was just kind of like is middle of her life. You
Very
know,
good. Yeah.
it was kind of like there's some textures from the old days, and it was like a mature woman that's lived a lot. And it's just a terrific version. That's kind of my favorite version of Landslide. The Dave with Lynn. That was that after the dance tour, was kind of before Say You Will, around that period.
Was it for the Hall of Fame?
I don't know what it was. It was
I think her and
they
Liz-
had, it was like Stevie and Lindsay one night, and then I think Fleetwood Mac came in there. I think
like
Christine was
Big
gone
Love.
the next night or something. It
Yeah.
was, they were just touring, and that's just a great version.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, do we have any other thoughts on record one of Live before we take a little break?
Okay.
All right.
We
let me
said
go ahead.
what? Oh, the whole, yeah, excellent.
Welcome back to Phonogenics 101. As usual, thank you to the Patreon subscribers for supporting this. Now that we are on every platform, there's a monthly fee that is thankfully covered by the Patreon subscribers. Because and then thank you to everyone that's subscribing. The downloads of this podcast on all the platforms, not including YouTube, are about to hit 2,000. So someone's listening out there, because
Okay.
the numbers are coming in. So that's cool. All right. We are here, season 2 of Phonogenics, and we are continuing our Fleetwood Mac series. We did all the Stevie Nicks albums. Then we started with the White Album, and we're moving onward. We skipped this album, and I was chastised by this group because this is an important release. And we've gone back to start off season 2 to catch up with this. before we move on into the chronology. But yes, this would have been side 3 of the vinyl. This is disc 2 of the CD. The song starts off with a new Stevie Nicks composition that was passed off as a live version, but apparently it was just a studio version with some dubbed in applause. But the song is about the 5 members of Fleetwood Mac being fireflies. So the song's called Fireflies. I do love the song. It's not the catchiest Stevie Nicks song. It's kind of one of those ones that just kind of rambles on, but I love it. I love Fireflies. Who wants to start this one?
It's well beloved in the Stevie community. It's a
Yeah,
nice
it
song.
is.
Yeah, people like it. And why don't you do it live? She's not going to do that.
Jim, what are your notes?
Okay. It's a terrific song lyrically. It's a song about a band holding things together and not falling apart. Stevie is brilliant singing a complex narrative and making it sound so beautiful. A great effort by the band with Lindsay with a steady hand. Not really performed in front of a real audience, I don't think ever. I don't think it's ever been on a tour.
That's accurate, according to the day it was recorded, which was September 4th after the tour ended. So yes, I think you're right, Jim.
Yeah. But it's a live take. It's done on the stage, and it's there's no real fiddling around with it. It's pretty much them on a stage and being recorded.
Yeah.
Let's see. I wrote here, it's a cool version where Lindsay takes turns with Stevie on vocal. Is that on this version? Or
No, that's on the deluxe.
There's a couple different versions out there.
Yeah. There's another version on the expanded or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's.
So it's great. My wife loves this. It's it's part of that. It's a huge part of the Stevie lexicon. It's one of our top efforts,
Yeah, it's an important part.
it just shows Stevie's talent just as a writer and as a vocalist and having, just coming up with words and putting them together. Lindsay probably kind of, molded it into something, but hey, this is good. This is really good.
Yeah, it is a great song. Steven, your hand was up.
Yeah, if I were a producer and doing the Fleetwood Mac movie, I would use this song over The Chain to be the theme song that holds the movie together.
Call the movie Fireflies?
Maybe, but I would use this song as like the main theme and keep going back to it to like represent the band over The Chain.
Man, I could so hear the song in the Daisy Jones show.
They used Gold Dust Woman for Daisy Jones.
What's that?
They used Gold Dust Woman in one of the episodes.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you watch it, Roland? Because we had a discussion about it before you were here.
I wasn't that impressed because to make it short, they were supposed to be the biggest band, rumors wise, but the songs that they perform, they were just.
Yeah.
See, I love the songs. I thought it was 70s AM radio gold.
And her outfits were very nice. Riley Keough's outfits were nice. They were very
Elvis's granddaughter. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else? Nathan, Alicia, Fireflies?
I can talk about it. It's a nice song. I guess because I've heard so much about it before I actually listened to the song, I was expecting something different than what it really is.
That's what happened to me with Blue Lamp, by the way.
It's I guess I was expecting a lot more of a mood because she really does know how to bring in the fantasy element, and there isn't that with this song. It's a straight rock song, and it's a good, solid rock song. It's not anything to complain about.
I feel like it's kind of in the same category as like No Questions Asked. Like it just kind of keeps going and going. I love both songs.
Yes, and I think it's the other thing that's really interesting is I think, and I agree with Steven, this would be a really good song just because she's talking about the relationships and how they have to keep this going instead of The Chain. this is really more how they deal with it almost. She's trying to explain. It's a lot more nuanced, I guess.
There's a lot of bits of their stories in the lyrics too.
Yeah.
A lot.
Talking
Yeah.
about how her and Mick are the last to leave the party. You know, and the song starts out to be the last to leave.
Well, it's
But
okay. All right. I mean, come on. This is lyrically one of them. It's certainly the sharpest and most true to the subject matter. I mean, this is a sleeper. To Stephen's point, this is one that I think will go down just as much as Landslide. You know, if she is in fact the last one to, you know, Christine just died, so we can say, when we talk about it, it's like, if she were the last one, this is the one that she would sit at the piano and play, and the world would fucking watch and cover. Would be some piano rendition of this, or you know,
yeah,
because
Yeah,
it's that.
holy shit.
It's like the lyric. I mean, I'm just so surprised. I'm just so surprised to hear you all be like, yeah, I guess those are kind of some poignant things. I mean, this is like this is the song, isn't it?
Christopher Nix, if you're watching, tell your sister that we have good plans for her in this song.
I'm sorry to talk about that. But I was just so surprised. Yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure. Jim's exactly right, though. It was interestingly done three, because remember, September 1st, 1980 is when their last show, and so this was apparently, according to the album, September 4th. So a couple of days, just Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. Anybody been there? Stephen, bet you have. No?
and buy it.
It was probably written on the road, you know, because and they just at the end there, they said, well, we've been singing this after shows or something, and they said, let's record it. So it was probably written on the road, and, you know, they had to get along, and Stevie wrote something that kind of what do you call it, without really coming out and saying, you know, and like real prose what they're going through. She made a good poem out of it, and a great song. So it was probably written on the road, and they tied it up at the end.
So one more thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Nathan, I can't tell you how much I love your idea. Because we've had a few conversations outside of the group where you've asked me, like, what would it take to get you really into Stevie Nicks again? That idea. Like, if she's singing, breaking down, crying about the loss of her band at a piano, singing The Fireflies, that would bring me back in to the
Ooh,
fold.
they gave me the chills.
Hey.
That, me too. I love that idea. Like, I'll be thinking about that a lot.
All
So
right.
bravo.
I feel like we should move on, because what else can be said after that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Lindsay's guitar comes in. And then Christine's, woo! She's all excited. The next song is Over My Head, and that is a great intro. This is a great live version. This picks up the energy from the first couple of songs on the first disc. This is the first single off the Fleetwood Mac White album. I love Christine's intros. What can be said? Christine McVie doing the thing and doing it well. Jim, give us your notes.
Yes, has that, like you're talking about the intro. It's a very country rock intro. A lot of harmonizing here. Christine, sweet lead vocal on this. A good run through by the band. I mean, just Fleetwood Mac being Fleetwood Mac, the Rumors band being the Rumors band, and that's what they are. No surprises, just a great effort.
Yep. Okay, I feel like it's not.
It's nice to have it.
Yeah, I feel like this performance just speaks for itself. What can be said?
Yeah.
But if there is something that can be said, did anybody else have anything to say? All right, let's move on. Thank you, everybody. All right, I would imagine we have plenty to say about the next one, because there's Rhiannon, the version on the White Album, There's Rhiannon that we know now, which is kind of like going through the motions. But Rhiannon was a monster in the 70s. The rumor is that Stevie Nicks' voice got shot because she got so emotional during the build-up. We have a version of Rhiannon here that keeps the original melody intact in the chorus is all your life. Because even one tour later on Belladonna became all your life in it. So you get the original melody one last time. This version here is intense. And there's a lot of great versions of Rhiannon. Jim, you mentioned the Midnight Special.
Yeah.
But legend has it from Mixbook, I believe that the Tusk Tour versions of Rhiannon just really had a lot of power. And the version we have here on this album supports that fact. That's really, really, really good. Jim, let's start with your notes.
Yeah, it's very steady and pedestrian at the start, like they're trying to set up for the build. And then the band picks up tempo and it goes into an atmospheric middle part, kind of where the players are just playing and Stevie's dancing, and it turns into very fiery at the end. Stevie empties the tank at the end. She empties the whole tank at the end.
Yeah.
And she did that a lot with Rhiannon through the years.
And I think the unsung hero of Rhiannon is Christine McVie's electric piano.
Yeah.
I think the versions that Stevie does in her solo really, I love McVie's harmony when Christine sings with Stevie on that last verse. Those two really brought some match to the song that I think that combination is the strongest version of Rhiannon. She's done other good versions, but Christine's, to me, her electric piano really channels that really darkness and like kind of the mystical aspect. I fucking love it. Okay, let me shut up because I could talk forever about this.
It's really epic. I mean, it's almost 8 minutes long or 7 something minutes long. As opposed to now, it's like 4 minutes long when she does it now. It's like 4 or 5 minutes. It's nothing,
This is the modern Rhiannon.
But this one, my God, I mean, you can imagine what she was doing during that long instrumental break,
Twirling.
She's probably floating around, or whatever.
Yep. The modern version of Rhiannon, all the same, yeah.
Yeah.
All the same, yeah. Rhiannon.
Well, she's saving her recent, over the years. She saves her stuff for Edge of 17 and Gold Dust Woman.
Yeah, Gold Dust is fucking great live now.
She keeps inventing new things for Gold Dust.
My friend James said that's her modern Red Rocks is the Gold Dust Woman. Alicia, what do you think of the live version of Rhiannon here?
This is the reason why I got into Stevie Nicks. I mean, let me put it this way. I grew up listening to country music. So a lot of the artists, even live, they do pretty close to the album. So Stevie's one of the first artists I picked up. And, you listen to the album versions and you're like, okay, this is a really cool song. And then I somehow got a hold of a bootleg or a live album or something. And I heard Rhiannon for the whole 6, 7, 8 minutes. And I'm like, holy smokes. Okay. And that definitely hooked me in. And there's a reason to now go pick up every bootleg and every live record and this and another. And I like it also with these older versions because she doesn't have the monitors in the front. So it's almost fun to sit there and listen and you go, wait a minute, isn't that supposed to be like the second verse? She's doing it in the first verse. And because she's just having to, that's what makes it so exciting to go to a concert. But today it's, she can kind of read the lyrics as she's singing. So it kind of, they're all like the same.
Exciting is the right word for exactly what you're talking. Exciting is it is exciting when it's like that. Yeah, I agree.
And
she never did it like she did on the White Album, did she? Where she says "Taken by the Wind." I feel like in the concert it was always "Taken by the Sky," even in the '75 versions.
So I mean that's what makes it so much fun. Picking up every live version of Rhiannon from like the '70s. Then she still had some really cool ones in the '80s too. But somewhere in, I don't know, after 20 years of performing it, it's...
There's a fantastic live version from '94 from the House of Blues, I think.
Yes. That's one of my favorites to listen to while I'm mowing the grass. So
That's great.
yes.
There's a really great piano version on the Enchanted box set.
You're making fun of that.
You must refresh my memory. Sing us a few bars.
Oh, is that somebody didn't like that? Someone hates that one. I forgot who.
It wasn't the worst thing I've ever heard. Okay, but back to the live album. What a stellar version of Rhiannon. Some of these versions are so powerful. I feel like my words are kind of cheapening how good they are. Like, what can really be said? It's so fucking good. This is the best. This is some of the best music ever made.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like how McVie and Mick kind of pinned down everything with this because they have that drive that really pushes Rhiannon too. I know you were saying Christine, and she gives it kind of the aria, the sound, but they really do pin everything down and keep it trucking.
I like how it starts with just Lindsay doing that dun, 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 on the guitar, like, and the audience is clapping along. Like, I can't imagine being there. Yeah, I feel like Mick and John are kind of like the trees that are in the moonlight, and then Christine's like the clouds going over the moon, and Stevie's the moon.
Yes, that's a great way of painting it. And it's
So cheesy.
also,
I know I'm gonna get crucified, but that's how I feel.
well, and it's also interesting to see someone like Lindsay. I mean, he is playing, but he's not the center of attention.
Right.
The lead guitarist. That's nice too.
It's so interesting to go back and hear the Buckingham Nicks versions of Rhiannon, where it had more of a shuffle beat.
Oh,
Then to know like what it became, on this live album. I feel like this live album and the versions from 75 through 80 are like the towering power of Rhiannon. There's some other good versions, but this was at the Stevie at the peak of her powers. I feel like,
yeah.
most certainly. All right, I'm out of breath. I took my breath away. Any other thoughts on Rhiannon? All right, speaking of Buckingham Nicks, we have a song here that I heard first on this live album, but years later when I got the Buckingham Nicks album, I found out it was a Buckingham Nicks song. I missed the shuffle beat a little bit that's on the original version, but I did love this version. I like hearing Christine have a keyboard part. I love hearing Christine and Lindsay's harmonies. And wasn't this recorded on 75 in the White Album tour?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's not from the Tusk tour.
Yes, in fact, this was recorded in 75, 10/3/75 at the Capitol Theater in New Jersey. Really cool. It's like a small place.
I think it's cool to have a Buckingham Nicks song on here. This is a great.
What a nice
fucking
inclusion.
song.
Yeah.
This is a great song.
Yeah,
Which song is it?
Oh,
Don't Let Me Down Again.
Don't Let Me Down Again. Jim, give us your notes.
yes. It's a Buckingham Nicks song. Surprise. Okay. And it was recorded on the White Album tour, as you said. Fleetwood Mac, the core, the Christine, John, Mick, they add a lot of muscle to this. And other than the Buckingham Nicks album. And when I was listening to it, I thought it would fit in as a Bare Tree song. It's got on the flip side, it's kind of like an old Fleetwood Mac song. That's probably why they brought it into the project. And Lindsay and Stevie, not too shabby here on the vocals. A wonderful musical accident this band became. This was just an accident. You got two pools of talents, and they just came together, and it was just a great fit. You couldn't even plan this.
What a great track listing for this live album, because you get a couple new songs, you get something from Buckingham Nicks, you get something from the Peter Green era. I thought the track list here is just really intelligent.
It is stellar.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Don't Let Me Down Again? All right. We are moving on to Christine McVie's new contribution to the album, a song called One More Night. It's Jim. I always kind of slept on this song, but then when Christine passed away, Jim actually was the impetus of this whole discussion.
Yeah.
He sent this song to us. I was like, you fuckers need to listen to this. And I did. And I was like, holy shit, this is a beautiful song. I don't have a lot to say. I just think it's Christine doing a really good Christine song.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. It's a very nice song.
Does anyone else? Jim, do you have some notes?
Yeah, a few. It's Christine's warning to a disinterested partner. It's pretty much spelled out there.
Dennis Wilson.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe the peak of Christine's singing career. Her vocal is so good. It's mature, youthful, powerful. Let's see. Okay, I rediscovered it after Christine's passing. My wife was listening to XM radio. They had a Fleetwood Mac channel on for a couple days, only a couple days, should have been a month. But this came on and she brought it to my attention and said, and I thought, what is, she mentioned the title and I didn't recognize the title, her saying it. And then she had to play it for me and said, oh God, this is good. And I've kind of like totally forgotten about it, and, good backing harmonies, and it was not recorded in front of a live audience like Fireflies. I love that Lindsay, that ooh and ah throughout the song. I think Lindsay's doing a vocal that's kind of a musical, kind of like a musical instrument, and it adds so much to it. And I think it's just Lindsay alone. I don't know if Stevie doesn't anything on vocally on here, but that really adds to the atmosphere of this song. Just a real good take. Totally Christine.
A little foreshadowing of Buckingham McVie, right?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to that, yes.
And this song ended side 3 of the vinyl. So if you were listening to the vinyl, this would have ended the side. It started off with a Stevie new song and ended with a Christine new song. All right. Any other thoughts on One More Night?
One More Lonely Night. I think that's what it is. That never mind.
I got that stupid Phil Collins.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Christine's was much better. Okay. We are moving on to the last side of the vinyl. It opens with a version of Go Your Own Way. Nathan, when was this recorded? Was this from the Tusk tour? Sorry to put you on the spot. I listened to this on my way to work this morning and it didn't stick with me too much. I feel like it was kind of like a little yelly, like some of the Tusk versions were. Alicia.
The thing that I remember from this version is that he like crows halfway through it.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It made me laugh. It's
I missed Stevie. I know I like in the live version where Stevie jumps in on that line that pissed her off, the shacking up, and she didn't do it here. She didn't sing along. Yeah, this definitely was not my favorite version of Going Your Own Way.
no.
Well, Nathan's looking. Jim, what are your notes on this one?
Yeah, I think it's a powerhouse on this. I mean, Go Your Own Way. They don't slack on Going Your Own Way, really ever, because Lindsay won't allow it. They always when they do Go Your Own Way, they just go out there and they pretty much empty the tank on it as a band, and it's still a great rock anthem. And it's got some terrific hard harmonies on this, and no pick necessary. Lindsay's finger picking all the way through. That's just amazing what he can do with the other guitars. You don't have to have a pick for. Totally unique.
I do remember the ending was fire. Like they were definitely tearing it up.
Yeah, this song was done in May of 1980, so it was about at the halfway point.
Okay.
And it was done in Cleveland. They played Cleveland for 2 nights.
Cleveland.
And 21st, and so there you have it. So at the halfway point, so they were like really having fun, probably, right, Jim?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
So they're really having some fun at the Richfield Coliseum in Cleveland.
Yeah. Is that building still standing?
Well, funny you should ask.
43 years.
It's seated to it sat 28,000 people, which is not bad. No, it's not still standing. It was demolished in 1999. So
a lot of ghosts out there in the parking lot somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Did anyone else have any feedback or conversation they want to add to this version of "Go Your Own Way"?
It's all right. Yeah.
This is one of the songs I just love. This, I think I like the studio version better than any live version. I guess I'd like the version from the dance, but we'll get to that in a couple months. Moving on, I liked this version of "Don't Stop." I thought it was really, I don't know, it did it for me this morning. Christine's piano was bopping along. Everyone was singing along. You could hear all three of them singing on the chorus. I felt like the positive nature of the song came through for me in this live version. It was uplifting the way that a Christine McVie song can be uplifting like no other. I also felt like, when the song became the theme for the Clintons, it kind of became like a staple for like older people. But I feel like the fire of the original song was still kind of in this live version. It wasn't just like, going color by the numbers, by the book. I thought it was a nice bop, if you will.
Is this the one with the broken string at the end?
Oh, there's something they kind of.
They make some kind of comment about a broken string, or Christine says something at the end.
There was a lot of musical flubbing around, and I don't know if that was intentional. It went burp, 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 burp.
Yeah, at the ending, yeah.
And Mick did a drum roll right at the end, and everybody quit. It's kind of like it was just a bust, and it was done. And it's kind of cool to have on an album.
Yeah.
Because you listen to that, like some of these, like the test rehearsal, that was kind of what this was. Just they quit all of a sudden, they make a mistake and they quit. Kind of cool. So
warts and all, yeah.
And plus, their later live albums were so like scripted and polished. It's nice to have something with some life and some air in it still.
Yeah.
Jim, what's your notes on this one?
Yeah. Well, I wrote here, it falls a little short of the studio version, but entertaining nonetheless. But I listened to it tonight, and I thought it was a pretty good version. So, it depends on what mood I was in. I guess it's good. A good, it's Fleetwood Mac banging out "Don't Stop," and the dance really added the Clinton thing, and then the dances that with the USC band.
Yeah,
that's such a brilliant thing. They pulled that off. It was so cool.
Not to mention the 2013 version where Christine came back on stage after being out of the band for so many years.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's my favorite version of "Don't Stop." I cried like a fucking baby.
Oh, I have to dig that.
Because they're like, what's this thing on the stage? Oh, then Christine McVie comes out. We're so lucky to get that last act of her. Like, I never thought she'd perform again, and we got a whole nother era of Christine McVie. We're so lucky for that. Okay, "Don't Stop." Anybody else? All right. Next is another Lindsay chance for him to jerk himself off on stage for like 13 minutes.
Oh God. Yeah. I skipped a farmer's daughter.
I'm so afraid.
Is it that long?
I like this is.
Or did it just seem that long?
I love the version on the White Album because I love Stevie's harmonies on it, and it's a palatable length. But I just feel like the live. There's like, as a Fleetwood Mac fan, there's things you have to endure. You have to endure Lindsay's 20-minute "I'm So Afraid." You have to endure Mick's electronic drum vest, and world turning. You have to endure Stevie's story sometimes.
Yeah.
This version of "I'm So Afraid"
and her fans, if you go see it live, it's a live show. Her minions.
This version of "I'm So Afraid" did not do anything for me. It didn't offend me, like not that funny, but I think Roland summed it up best. Skip that shit and get to the farmer's daughter. But Jim, I know you got some notes. Share them, and then anyone else that wants to talk.
Yeah, "I'm So Afraid." Yes, it's better than the studio version. Because they really amp it up. Christine adds some good harmonies on this. Christine's organ keyboards really drives this. They really play this it's long, you know, they make it long and extended, and they really play it out, you know, musically at the end. I mean, you know, no complaints here.
I don't think that they did this one. You know how this is last on the album or whatever. Like here we are at the second to last song, right? I don't know that is this the position it had in the actual set list that in the day, or was it earlier like it is now? Now it comes at about the 2/3 mark, right? Here it is at the 9/10 mark. You see what I'm saying? Was it at the same position?
I don't think it ever went. It was.
I don't think it was.
I think this song is better appreciated seeing it live, you know, rather than hearing it. It just goes on and on and on for about 15 minutes. But when you actually see it, it's exciting. But not that if you don't see it, it's not exciting.
It's a good being
where it is on the album. It's
watching, yes.
Right. It's almost on the album. It's like if you haven't fucking had enough weird. Oh, you didn't get enough weird, like not weird. If you didn't get enough like rock. You know what I'm saying? Here's a bunch of guitar shit that fucking now you're good. Now you can it's
just for the fans, just for the fans of Phonogenics 101. Remember how I renamed Not That Funny to Not That Good? I'm gonna rename I'm So Afraid the song's never gonna end.
Perfect.
Friends say that this was a great song to grind to, and I can't say
grind. What does that mean? What does to grind mean? Like skateboarding or what?
No. Gotta use your imagination.
Listen, it's been so long, my imagination blocked all that out. So I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Grinding, like what? Like what are we grinding?
The only thing that grinds in my
bodies.
It's a great song to spend some quality one-on-one time with somebody and have it on in the background.
Grinding bodies.
Oh,
yeah.
The only thing grinding in my apartment are teeth and coffee.
That's good.
I'm so afraid I'm gonna die alone. Okay. Okay. We did it. We went through the live album, but we have one little gem left. And I remember when I was a kid with this album, this is the one that I always went back to. And when I was driving to work this morning, I played this 4 times in a row. I still love it. It's a Brian Wilson cover, right? Was it a Beach Boys song originally?
Yeah, I heard it recently. It's very different. The original one's quite different.
Okay. This is you know, of course Lindsay has this huge Brian Wilson fascination. And I guess, you know, Stevie brought Fireflies, Christine brought One More Night, and I'm guessing Lindsay brought The Farmer's Daughter. This is such a great I didn't know it was a Beach Boys cover when I was a kid. I love this song. I think their harmonies,
oh yeah,
the way they're singing, and isn't it interesting? Back in the day, Christine always took the high harmony because I was listening to some early versions of the Chain, which she took out that high harmony. In the earlier versions that were live, she would sing those high parts. This version of Farmer's Daughter is exquisite. Oh my god, I can't. It's an earworm. I listen to it over and over and over and over and over. I just have nothing. I could just ramble on for as long as I'm so afraid about how much I love The Farmer's Daughter, but I won't. Jim, let's start with your notes, and we're going to open up the floor.
Okay. It's a Beach Boys cover. It's a sweet and touching song with beautiful harmonies. Fleetwood Mac made it their own. They kept true to the Beach Boys version, though. In my opinion. Stevie, you can plow my fields any day, figuratively and metaphorically. I had to write that in there.
You see the farm with a big close sign on it?
Yeah. A very nice ending to this album. One More Lonely Night, Fireflies, and Farmer's Daughters are great additions, and I'm very thankful for that.
Every Fleetwood Mac moment is just like a little chest of gold, just like Stevie says.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like everyone has to say something about Farmer's Daughter because it's so good. Alicia, do you have anything to say about
it? It's a beautiful song. It's a nice song to end it with. And it kind of reminds me of the little suite you have on the fourth side. or it's the last 5 songs of Tusk.
Oh yeah.
It really fits kind of that. It's the Honey High. Stevie's was Beautiful Child.
Yep.
Forget Lindsay's version, but this
Save Me a
kinda-
Place.
I think so. And those, I feel like this one could kind of slide in for
Yeah.
that fourth. Their voices are a lot the same. It's got all that rich harmonies.
And Mick and John are just so understated in their rhythm section. And didn't they bring this back in like the Unleashed tour or the 2013?
The dance tour. The dance
The
tour.
dance.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the dance. Okay.
Yeah,
I think it was
wife
a close. Was it the
mentions
closing song? They all got together in a
Yes.
group and sang. Yeah, that's what I heard.
there's a crummy YouTube version of Farmer's Daughter on the dance tour. It exists.
Well, I think that this album definitely warranted a discussion. I'm so thankful, Jim, that you ordered me to do this, and I listened. I
All right.
obeyed.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. You did not order me, but
I'm trying to look up how many units sold of this album.
I think it went
I
gold.
never-
500,000 at least.
It went gold and not to platinum.
I think so. I could be wrong. This
It's
is from
probably leaked up to platinum by osmosis or something.
yeah. Do you guys like the album cover? What do you think of the blurry picture of them?
I'm not.
I've gotten used to it over the years.
It's a very interesting cover. It does make you wonder, though.
I always thought it was hard to distinguish Christine from Stevie in that picture. They dressed alike.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still
Do
don't
you
know.
feel that there were songs that could have gone on the album but weren't? I feel that the Chains should have gone on, and maybe Tusk too, since it was a Tusk tour. That they were, that album came out that time.
I almost feel like it's a perfect. Feel like they picked the perfect songs. I feel like the Chain would have made it too rumors heavy.
Yeah. I mean, on the deluxe, it's the second song.
Yeah, they put it on the deluxe.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to give a shout out to from the deluxe, just in case anyone wants to go further?
Secondhand news.
It's nice to have Hold Me. It's nice to have Hold Me.
Is it a good version?
I know Gold Dust. Stevie mixes up the lyrics.
Yeah,
So I had
yeah.
fun listening to that. What? It's a good song. It's
Nothing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alicia.
I think on the cover they should have had Stevie in focus and everybody else out of focus.
Yeah, Christine and Lindsay would have loved that.
Just to see Lindsay's face when they bring the brooms in.
Well, if you're gonna follow the history,
Oh, Secondhand News is great on that on the deluxe version. It's
Is
nice
it
to have that live.
it's from the Tusk tour or Rumors tour.
Mirage.
Oh,
From
Mirage.
Mirage.
Secondhand
Yeah.
news. Where are you?
So if anyone is listening and that's younger that doesn't know the history of Fleetwood Mac, after the live album came out, Stevie went on to release Belladonna and launched her solo career. Lindsay did Law and Order, and Mick Fleetwood did The Visitor, right?
Yeah.
So everyone but Christine and John did a solo album right after this. All right.
Well, but okay. John released a solo album in like 1990.
Oh, he's got a band or whatever. Or,
Got a
The
band.
Gotta Band,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't know what I'm talking about. Well, they found some really hot smoking chick.
Lola
Oh,
something.
Lola Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lola Thomas.
Like she was really talented. I don't know.
He's got more than a band, Hunter.
Mhm.
I have that album, but I don't know if I ever listened to it. I did listen
It's
to The
pretty
Visitor.
good. It's got some good moments in there.
The
Seriously,
Fleetwood-
you guys have listened to the John McVie album?
Mhm. No, I've never heard of
I-
it.
Usually you guys have the John McVie album?
I have it, yeah. I got it for like $2. The interesting thing about Mick Fleetwood's Visitor album is he does a version of
I don't
Walk
know
a
if
Thin
I
Line.
have or not.
Does the version of what?
Walk a Thin Line from Tusk.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
good.
right. I heard about that. Yeah.
All right, so Fleetwood Mac live. What are we going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? The Phonogenics
Oh,
rating scale. Jim
10.
Miller. Oh, who's that? Roland? Well, let's start
I
with
agree
Jim.
with Roland. 10.
What a nice document of the times to have.
Okay, so we get a 10 from Roland. Who else? Steven gives it a 10. Jim, you give it a 10.
Me,
Nathan gives it a 10.
I'll give it like an 8.6.
8.6.
I mean, they've had like the dance tour is way above this, and other bands with live records are probably better than this. You know, it's like there's some iconic live records like Peter Frampton and Cheap Trick. You know, I'm measuring up against other live. No one mentions the live Fleetwood Mac album when you think of live records.
That's
You
true.
know, I think the Eagles probably have a live record that's, rated.
Greatest hits record.
But it's good. It's good that
five greatest hits.
Alicia, what do you give the live album?
Maybe.
Well, now Jim's got me thinking over here.
I know. I was all ready to do the 10. Now I'm down to 8. Okay, go ahead, Alicia.
Well, I mean, to me, I think this is probably the best one I've heard from Fleetwood Mac. It definitely, to me, this is the statement of this is why they should have been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is
Right.
really good. Then they performed all these songs fantastically. I'm glad we got the extra couple songs on disc 2. I'm not complaining. But I guess you can also argue that they weren't actually live either, or
Right.
at least Fireflies and Farmer's Daughter, maybe. So, I mean, you can discount some of that. Not that they're bad songs. They're great songs. Please don't get me wrong. It's just they're not. They kind of been that live
Yeah.
category. And Jim's making me think, well, I don't know if this is one of the greatest live records ever,
Yeah.
but this is fantastic for Fleetwood Mac. They're brilliant on these tracks and these versions. I would say it's a definite must-have for a Fleetwood Mac fan.
Right.
So I don't know, 9 and a half, maybe.
I agree with Lisa.
Because I'm going between 8 and 10. Like, part of me feels like it's a 10 because it's so good. It's Fleetwood Mac live at their peak. Then part of me thinks 8 when you put it up against Peter Frampton and everything. So I'm gonna give it a 9 right in between there.
yeah.
Go right down the middle, Hunter. Well, our Phonogenics fans are in for a big treat next month because we are going to do something I vowed I would never do.
We're gonna do that.
I said I'm not going to do this no matter what, and we're going to do it. We're gonna do our reaction. We're going to listen to time and react live on camera. So we're going to turn off the camera. We're going to turn off the recording, listen to the song, and then we're not going to even react till we hit record, and we're going to make the time podcast that everybody's been waiting for.
When we come back, everybody make a face that represents the reaction to the song.
Yeah, camera's off until the song's done.
Okay. Are you gonna record it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put it to the
I'm gonna
world?
pause the music. I'm not going to record when the music's playing, but I'm going to put everything else to the world.
Yeah. You're gonna
Release it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna record when we're trashing it,
Yes.
like the Bramlett stuff.
I am thrilled to share this album with you guys. I'm really happy that we're carrying over into the season. We're we're a little family now.
You're gonna like the first track. It's not like Fleetwood Mac, but it is Fleetwood Mac. So
Talking to my heart, right?
yeah, it's a country.
Yeah.
It's a very twangy country.
I haven't heard for years.
Well, we are in for a treat next month, people.
I never heard
Can
that.
we have Jeremy?
Yes.
Could we have just 3 minutes before you cut us off completely?
Yeah, so we'll end the podcast and we'll chat for a second. To the
Just
Patreon subscribers, to the fans, and to my friends here, thank you for coming back for season 2. We had more to discuss, and we almost did this for the 2-year anniversary in January, and I'm glad we waited till now because we got that fire just like Fleetwood Mac did on the Tusk tour. So all right, we'll be back next month. Bye.